what's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Mr. Parker's Neighborhood. I'm Mr. Parker, and today's guest. Well, I mean, this journey on this one it's gonna be something for y'all on this journey. My guest today is Dr. Latonia Collins Smith. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Hello, Cecil Parker, CP. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, before we get started, we play a little game here first, and it's guess what my guest does. So now I got y'all wondering now with the doctor part. Y'all just wondering. So we're gonna go into it. Is my guest A professor, B, a life coach, C, a lawyer, or D, an entrepreneur? All right, we went through all that. Y'all wrong again. Don't even worry about it because I didn't give y'all all the good choices. So, Dr. Tanya, would you please tell them what it is that you do?
Well, good evening again, CP. I have the distinct honor of serving as the interim president at the Harris-Stowe State University, which is the only HBCU in the city of St. Louis.
See that? I told y'all, look, I'm coming big with this guest here. This guest right here, I mean, this woman is one of my favorites because when you hear the story, y'all gonna say, man, yeah, you are truly the reason why I'm doing this show at this time because let's just go into it. We've done with Dr. Latonia Collins Smith. So now, Middle T, what's up, girl? How you doing?
I'm doing well, CP. How you doing?
It's all good. So tell the people, are you from St. Louis and give us a breakdown of where you from and where we going?
Absolutely. I am a native St. Louisan. I am born and raised, North Side born and raised, in the Ville neighborhood, proud product of St. Louis Public Schools K through 12. And so absolutely, that goes without saying. I am so St. Louis.
Now, what high school did you go to, T?
Oh, the Cleveland NJROTC, the real Cleveland NJROTC. See,
and on this show, that's the thing about this. This one here ain't gonna be nothing but the real. Like I said,
the real.
That's real.
It's real authentic. Real authentic.
Right now, look, wasn't the combined? It is the by itself Cleveland.
Not the combined in one building. It was the by itself Cleveland at 4352 Louisiana. 1,700 students, uniforms 5 days a week. That Cleveland.
Are you part of the uniform crew?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Believe it, which is the foundation of who I am today.
Okay. Now, going through that, were you involved in any activities at Cleveland?
Absolutely. You're probably best by asking which ones I wasn't a part of.
Okay.
So absolutely, I was very involved in different activities. I was a student leader. I actually, at Cleveland NJROTC, there's rank. It's based just like the military. Okay. So at one point, I was a platoon commander as a junior, I was a platoon commander for freshmen. I also served as the commander for the sophomore class at one point, and then also for Bravo Company, which was the junior class. So yes, absolutely. I was also a captain of the cheerleading team at one point. Very involved with cheerleading for 4 years. Just an all-around student leader and very involved.
Oh, really now? So wait a minute. So you were a platoon captain. You were the captain of the cheerleading team. You were all this leadership position stuff while in high school. Then you graduated high school and come to Central Missouri State.
And become a leader.
Yeah, okay, later. Your first trip there, you come through Central Missouri State. And at that point in time, when you come in, there's a president of ABC trying to get the students together and give them opportunities to do this, that, and the other. And you become one of the mentees of the president.
Yeah.
And they had a tutoring program that they did there. And the first 3 time you were supposed to meet with your tutor, you didn't show up. Yeah. Then when I catch, well, I'll go ahead and tell it now. Yeah, I was the tutor.
You were the tutor. You were the tutor. Yeah.
Hey, and then when I finally catch you, wait. And again, while I call her middle T, her crew, I had 3 of them. There was tall Tanya, there was middle Tanya, and there was little Tanya.
Exactly.
So, and they all were together as a crew, is how I met them. And in the study time, like I said, they came the 3rd week late, and then say, can they leave early? Ain't that right, T?
That's right. But I want you to understand that karma really is something, because now, as I sit in this seat and we work with incoming freshmen, and we're trying to help our incoming freshmen understand all the resources that are available to them with testing and tutoring and the writing lab, which, by the way, at University of Central Missouri was CMSU, Central Missouri State. The writing lab was my best friend eventually. Yeah. And so it's amazing how karma comes back around, because we are now in our first 3 weeks of a semester, and we are doing the same thing that my mentor, Cecil Parker, was doing for us, trying to seek opportunities and encourage new students to be connected to resources. So I have to laugh, because I too at one point was one of those first year students who was like, yeah, I'll do it later. I'm trying to see what's going on a quad. So
yeah, and again, now we've been fully upfront.
Absolutely.
After I got y'all involved in it for a minute, I was like, yeah, all I'm trying to do is help y'all realize what you got around you. You're gonna do what you're gonna do with it anyway. And I said, all you got to do is show up, and we go through the stuff. And if you ain't got no issues, we can go home. Y'all was leaving early, telling me, oh, I got it. We would sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes. I leave and come back. Y'all done came together talking about, all right, we good. Okay, y'all sure? Y'all be like, no, we good, we got it. Okay, all right. But then when because remember, we did the midterm piece, I'm like, all right, let me see what kind of grades y'all got. Oh, T come in there talking about, they ain't gave us ours yet. Negro. They done gave everybody. What you mean they ain't gave you yours?
They ain't give me mine yet.
And that's the face she gave me too. They ain't give me mine.
They didn't give me mine yet.
But I mean, it was just crazy. I'm like, boy, I'm trying my best to help y'all. And I'm like, these 3 here. I mean, love y'all to death. I'm like, and Big T and Little T, boy, y'all were a group. I mean, y'all had pledging down before y'all even thought about pledging, because if one said it was no, all y'all said it was no. I said, what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, that's the best way. That's the best way to be, and we're still that way to this day.
Now, so we know you at Central Missouri State. How did you end up at Central Missouri State? What brought you?
Ironically, how I ended up at Central Missouri State, in my leadership days in high school, while working, my senior year, I worked in the instructional coach's office, and which was housed in the counseling center. And ironically, one day I was coming to work for my hours, and they had this bookshelf with all these pamphlets. And it just so happened someone who was walking in front of me walked past, and they wind up knocking one of the pamphlets onto the floor. And it happened to be a Central Missouri State pamphlet. So I picked it up, and I was still in my search process, trying to figure out, where I'm going to go. I knew I was going to college. I knew I wanted to go to college. That was the thing to do. And honestly, I'll be real honest with you, Cecil, I did not have the best ACT score.
Okay.
I am a walk-in testimony because I am a 15 ACT developmental math. That's who I was. That's what I tested as. But I applied to CMSU. I looked at the pamphlet first and I saw there was a map on the back, and there was a map that showed me Highway 13, which I knew nothing about. And the Highway 13 went from 70 all the way over and connected to 65 to get to Springfield. And there was also one that take business 50 to get to Kansas City. And I'm like, oh, okay. I can get away from home, but not too far away from home. And if I needed to get to a city, I could.
Right.
I can get to a city within 45 minutes if I needed to get to Kansas City. Or if I wanted to do something different and I wanted to go to Springfield, that was an hour and a half, close to 2 hours away. And so what I did, I wound up applying for, I had all these other schools that I was going to go to. You know, you think of going to college, you think of D1. I had a whole bunch of D1s that I was going to go to. But when I applied to CMSU, I tell students all the time, for every no, there's a yes.
Yeah.
You know, I got several no's from these D1s that I was going to with my 15 ACT, right? And CMSU came back, and not only did they accept me, they also gave me a $500 scholarship for my community service.
Okay.
Because in high school, I was involved, I did community service. They saw my community service resume and they were like, okay, we'll give you a $500 scholarship for fall and for spring for your community service. That was huge for me because back then, it only cost us roughly about $2,000 a semester. I was Pell eligible because in a sense, I was first generation by default. And I tell people that all the time. My mother was a college graduate, but my mother passed away when I was 7. And so here's my grandmother, they're doing it again. And so by default, I'm a first gen in a sense, because my grandmother knew nothing about FAFSA. She knew nothing about filling out paperwork or any of those things. And so when I did all of this on my own and just gave it to my grandma, was like, sign it. You know, so she was just happy that I was just interested in going to college. Right. And so for me, as being Pell eligible and having that $500 scholarship, that only left $300 out of pocket that my grandmother had to pay. That was a tremendous blessing within itself, because I went to school, undergrad, with no loan. Okay. And so that was a tremendous blessing because I was able to utilize something that I was happy about doing, community service. And then I'm like, oh, you can get a scholarship for that, which prompted me to really start exploring scholarships. Because when you start digging into scholarships, and I encourage my students even to this day, there's a scholarship for almost everything. If you left-handed, there's a left-hand scholarship. I mean, there are scholarships for everything, but that prompted me to start searching for scholarships, because if I can get $500 from CMSU, I can get $500 from somewhere else, then my grandmother don't have to pay out of pocket. Right. And so that's one of the reasons why, even to this day, I'm a strong advocate for scholarships. Scholarship and service. Anything that you see me doing when we do our reunions for CMSU, when you think about that, we've been going strong since 2008. But at the heart of everything that we do, it has scholarship. And that is because $500 made the difference for me. And somebody took a chance on me to come to CMSU and to be who I am. And so when I think about Cleveland, NJROTC, just the discipline and those different things that was instilled in me in high school, the mentors and the people that I met along the way, even when I think about CMSU, I share with my students all the time how coming to CMSU changed my life. You know, just like going to Cleveland changed my life, coming to CMSU further changed my life because it took me out of urban St. Louis. It exposed me to something different. But not only that, what I share with my students all the time is that I met friends for a lifetime in Warrensburg, Missouri. Here we are, you and I having this conversation 30 years later, because this is 30 years ago on August 15th was when I went to Cleveland. I mean, I left St. Louis and I started at CMSU 30 years ago this year. And here we are 30 years later having this conversation. But it wasn't I tell my students all the time, I can't even remember time going to an advisor in college.
Right.
I can't. You know who advised me through college? It was people like you. It was my friends. It was my mentors. We talk about Tony Cousins, the upperclassmen who said, no, you take this class, this class, this class. When I came to CMSU, I had no idea that you could take longer than 4 years to graduate. I didn't know. I thought college was just like high school. You got to graduate in 4 years, because if you don't, people gonna laugh at you and you flunk, right? So that was my goal. Like, I got to get out of here in 4 years. But it was the friends that I made at CMSU along the way who hit me to, okay, don't take your gen eds here because they cost so much. Go to the community college in the summer, take your gen eds there. Tanya, you taking developmental math here? Why? Why are you doing that? You don't need that class. Go home in the summer and take your college algebra and transfer that back. Yep. That was after I had enrolled in that class twice and dropped. So think about the cost of that. Right. I had to pay for that because I was enrolled and I dropped. But it was my mentors and my friends of a lifetime that really helped me to navigate that thing. And in my junior year, going into my senior year, I put off math so long. I attempted to take it at the community college in 3-week session. I don't know why I did that. Dropped it again. And then someone told me, this is how things come full circle. Someone shared with me, you should go to Harris Stowe. I took my college algebra in the summer of '94 here at Harris Stowe in the second summer session. It was here that I met an instructor who said, I know everybody in here is afraid, but don't be afraid. We're going to get through this. If you listen to me, you go into, you come to class and then you go into your tutoring. Here's that word. See, you go do your tutoring. By now, I know the value of tutoring, right? So you go to your tutoring and then you will be fine. B+, transferred it back. It makes the difference in the world. And I wind up graduating in 4 years. And then it wasn't until I graduated and I saw some of my friends still there. And I'm like, why y'all still here? It's like, oh, we'll graduate in another semester. How you get to do that? Didn't know I could, but it's probably best that I didn't know that.
Right. Like some things for you, yeah. Cause I mean, back then, like I said, it was the fact that you don't know how much you, Big T, Little T, and anybody part of that ABC piece at that point in time, I felt that if y'all didn't do something or if y'all fell short, that was on my back.
That was on your back.
And it was like, okay, but that was the whole point of ABC. When I got there, it was like 20 people, and I was learning the family structure piece. By the time you got there, like that, I hadn't planned to be president of ABC. It just happened that way.
It happened.
And in doing this, like, okay, well, I can only do it the way I do it. I can't do it like they did. And like I said, put the team together. We got the tutoring, we got job information, we got SGA stuff. Because we were trying to get all the stuff that they hadn't told us about. And we just finding about and letting y'all know that y'all can be a part of all of this to make sure that if something going on, y'all got a voice. And that was my main goal, was because y'all coming in, like I said, we came in to Warrensburg, we came in 500 freshmen strong. So when you came in, it was like they looking at y'all like, here comes some more. And because by the time you got there, we had already broke the barrier on them
We
being
had
this
the
and
most
another.
African-American students in the state school system.
And I mean, and it
Which
was
was
like,
significant.
and that was our point was with brothers like C. Calvin and Spanky and all them who was in front of us. It was like, all right, we get ready to leave. So y'all gotta make sure they understand the value of having an ABC. And then, like I said, to come back years, and you know, when we came back and y'all was doing the first alumni piece, and we sitting there for, I think y'all doing something about the president piece, and I walk up in there and I'm sitting in the back, and like, yeah, this is President so-and-so, this was the president. I'm like, really?
We never knew the president, huh?
I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Tanya was the president. Tony became a president. I'm like, oh, I say, oh, look at this. I say, that whole row. And you say, oh, wait a minute, CP in the back, come on up and sit down. And we sitting at the table. And it was funny because he said, yeah, really, you are the father of everybody up here. I'm looking like,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
But I mean, y'all made me feel so good in the fact of you heard something and you kept it going. I mean, that's the thing about you being now the president or interim president at Harris Stowe. Girl, look here, you know how big my chest got when I saw you on TV. Come on. And the new intern is, wait a minute, that's middle T. Oh shoot. Yeah, well, look at that. Wow, look at God. But I mean, the journey, and like I said, we want people to understand the journey going through Warrensburg was a mind-blowing piece. And then if you didn't have anybody there to support you, it would have been ugly. I mean, I've seen people come through there who were used to people not caring. And that's how some of them didn't even understand how to respond to somebody caring about their grades.
Right.
I mean, and I say, as far as your experience dealing with the coming together of people, how was that as far as meeting people from Kansas City, Chicago, and all over who didn't know you from Adam, but became part of the family?
Let me tell you, one of the reasons why I am so committed even to this day to making sure that we have a Black Alumni Association, and even having our reunions, even being that person to serve on the university alumni board of directors and also the foundation board, so that we can have a voice at the table. One of the reasons why I'm so committed to that is because I always tell people that CMSU and Warrensburg in general gave me two things in my life. One, it gave me an education. I actually have a degree from CMSU. But one of the other things that is most valuable to me is that friendship, relationships, and real relationships of a lifetime. To be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm in Kansas City. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Kansas City. I have two best friends that live in Kansas City. When I sent my child to UMKC on the other side of the state, I was able to rest that night because I knew she had a family that was already built in. Right. And that was my family that I gained in Warrensburg. So she was good. They were going to take care of her. To be able to go different places in across the nation and just say, hey, or somebody see on Facebook, oh, you in my city? Where you at? I'm coming. Let's go to dinner. I mean, that's amazing. And it is a tremendous blessing for me to be able to still be connected to some wonderful people. Even when I walked into this role, just being able to connect with individuals from high school, from Warrensburg, it was like, oh my God, we're proud, we're gonna support you. What do you need? I work at this company. I'm looking for students for internship. I need to connect some students to jobs. That's priceless.
Yeah.
It's priceless. And it's one of the most authentic things that you can receive from just going to college.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, that that college role has really been a pusher. And like I say, in the fact of, and I'm so proud to be able to say that doctor, that feels good to say to your middle T, Dr. T, what's going on? But I mean, it's the fact of those things and those accomplishments and resources were parts of what people were trying to show us. When I first came in, they were trying to show me, when I first came in, they were showing me, this is how you survive. When y'all came in, it was like, okay, this is how you survive, and this is how you move forward. And it became the point to where, like I said, we see each other now. Like you said, back then, it's so funny because between Central Missouri State and Riverview Gardens, if I got something on for either one of those, people who graduated 2 years ago, come on, oh man, you went there? Or did you go there? Yeah, and to talk about how we did it and how they did it, it's a little vague, but it's still the fact that they're happy to see somebody else.
It's a connection.
And then, like you said, and to have I said, your children, mine, everybody to say, yeah, we sitting there in the room and you like, yeah, such a graduated from Central Missouri State. Huh? Wait a minute, look, cuz this guy from Central, I didn't know you even went to Central. Right. And it's like a whole generation of Central Missouri State graduates, and you sit back and I'm like, man. Well, then I said, then you hear, I said, Harris Stowe, we got people coming in, and well, I go to Harris Stowe. I said, oh, well, I know the president there, yada, yada, yada. You got some issues, or problems. This is the number you need to call and reach out for. But I mean, it's just a good thing to have people in places to help our children at this stage again, because I mean, we thought when we was coming, look, when y'all was coming, I was there, that education was important. Now it's to have a degree and a master's now, it's almost, we talked about that when y'all was there, we talked about how a bachelor's degree was almost like a high school diploma, and a master's is your college degree, and a doctorate, I mean, doctor, like I say, I have a master's, but you are a doctor.
And really, see, so I tell people all the time, yeah, I'm a doctor, but I'm a real person first. Right. I have had life experiences, and I am really grateful because my students here, when I came to Harris Stowe 11 years ago, I was only supposed to be here 9 months on a grant initiative. And I'm very grateful because when I got to Harris Stowe, I was in my 21st year of serving as a social worker and public health practitioner here in the city. But when I got to Harris Stowe, I saw myself every day. And it took me back to that freshman year at CMSU. And I saw myself, and what I mean by that is I saw young people who looked like me, who was hanging in the residence hall, and really behavior was much like mine, my freshman year, running from the tutors. So I instantly connected to that. And I attribute every day to my students, my very first students here at Harris Stowe. They were the catalyst for me to say, I have done everything I want to do in social work and public health, although I still use social work every day. And I can do this for the next 20 years. I tell them all the time, as much as they say I pour into them, they don't understand what they do for me. Right. And how it was them who helped me to find my purpose and my passion. And that is to help young people who are under-resourced, underserved, low income, find that education can change your whole life. It could be a game changer, and it can also change the trajectory for your life and also for generations to come.